Wow, have you guys ever ripped pages out of your older journals? Oh man, I did that so much as a teenager. I would write, and then I would read it like 2 years later, and I'd be like, who is this weirdo? And I'd rip it out, throw it. Hey guys, it's Jake, and today I'm going to be talking about focusing like a fox. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I also make tutorials on programming and 3D modeling, so you can go ahead and check those out as well, and that would be awesome. So today we're going to be talking about focus. Now the reason I want to talk about this is that a lot of my tutorials and classes that I teach are pretty in-depth, and they require a lot of focus. And so I know from my own experience that I can lose focus really easily. And the thing that I think that causes that is all of these little tertiary side things. News, podcasts, world events, Facebook, Twitter, family, school. So there's all these things you gotta juggle. Email, relationship, friends. So here's the deal. You got 24 hours in the day. 8 of those you should be sleeping. So you've got 16 hours total. So if you want to focus like a fox, you're going to have to cut some of these things out. That's the bottom line. The first thing you need to cut out is Facebook and news. Twitter and world events. Now why am I saying, oh, and definitely Reddit? Let's cross these out. Reddit, world events, news, that includes local news. Cross that out. Cross Facebook out. And now you need to focus on just these few things. School, family, relationship, and occasionally friends, if you have time for it. Don't worry about emailing either. So those are the things you need to worry about. Now, let's go over this real quick. Now here's something that I think that you really should just be cutting out altogether. And again, this is for people that are trying to go through my series and trying to accomplish whatever their goals are, whether or not they want to be a programmer working for some company, or whether or not they want to be a designer working for some company, or starting their own company, starting their own firm. Here's the thing that if you are doing this at all, please cut it out and do not do it. Gaming. Gaming, just cut it out of your schedule. You're not going to have time to do any of this gaming while you're trying to learn to program or trying to learn to be a designer. Can you become a programmer and can you become a designer while you're gaming? Yes. Will it take you longer? Yes. Because if you're spending 5 hours a day gaming, that's 5 hours a day that you've now lost that you could have been working towards your goal. And believe me when I say that you can learn your programming or your design skills necessary to be paid as a professional within a year if you are cutting out your gaming. 6 months to a year, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to find a job somewhere or start getting freelancing work. Cut out the gaming, cut out the watching the Let's Plays, cut out the movies and the Netflix. Now, if you're watching Netflix with your significant other, that's fine, obviously. You can do that. Don't do more than one a night. Again, it's your life, do whatever you want. These are my recommendations. These are the things that I believe are going to help you. So you can either follow them or you can just ignore them. It's totally up to you. And it's either going to take you longer or it's going to take you less time depending on your decisions. And what are some other ways that we can focus as far as cutting out like news? So what I don't want you to do is every time you go onto YouTube, you're going to see 8 videos. I think it's 8 videos being displayed. I want you to consciously, and I'm bringing this up because I want all of these events, when they happen, I want something in your mind to be triggered to completely ignore them. All these videos are these eye-popping, like, select these, they're these recommendations for you to click on. Now, if you're on YouTube going through these tutorials, I know you have a YouTube account, most likely you have a YouTube account, and you are going to be presented with these. And there's going to be some, like, oh, cat thing again, and then, like, crazy thing that they did on Jimmy Fallon or whatever, or Conan, okay? If you have to, don't even go to the YouTube homepage. Just bookmark the channel that you're doing tutorials on. If it's mine or if it's someone else's, bookmark that channel and put that at the top. What you need to try and do is start reducing the amount of times that you run into or that you fall into rabbit holes. Because what you're going to end up doing, and you know this, I'm not prophesying anything new here. You're going to click on the Jimmy Fallon video, and then you're going to see some sidebar recommended video on the right, and then you're going to click that, and you're going to end up going down. You're going to be watching 20 videos, and you're going to waste 3 hours. Before you even know it, you're going to look up, and the sun will be down. So avoid the homepage, the YouTube homepage at all costs. Just don't even go there. And again, this is for the ambitious. This is for the people that really just want to get where their goal is. I want to be a programmer. I want to be a 3D modeler or designer, or I want to be a graphic designer. Because I'm actually working on a GIMP tutorials right now. GIMP is the open source version of Photoshop. Obviously, Photoshop is a lot more advanced, but it's also a lot more expensive. So, a graphic designer, people who are serious about getting good at GIMP, serious about becoming a programmer, and serious about becoming a 3D modeler, animator, or designer. And you want to go through any tutorials, either of mine or anyone else's. Andrew Price does some really good Blender tutorials if you're going into 3D animation. This is what you need to try and avoid, going down this rabbit hole, because you have to go to YouTube in order to get to these tutorials, but then you're going to jump down that hole and really just avoid it. Avoid it. Avoid it. Reddit. There are tools that you can download. I don't know the exact ones right now, but you can download tools that will not allow your browser to go to certain websites. You can obviously get around that, but the thing is you're just putting one more step in the process of landing on Reddit. Because Reddit, as we know, it's got these top stories, and everything is just the coolest, most interesting things are at the top of the page. But let me tell you something what isn't at the top of the page. Whatever it is, a picture or something funny that happened, it will never be the secret to becoming a better programmer. Okay? It's never going to include that. It's never going to have, the front page will never have it'll never have how to become better at design or any of that. You can set it up so that you subscribe to certain channels, like if you're subscribed to the Ruby channel, that's fine. But, I wouldn't even do that, because it's so tempting once you get on Reddit, even if you're just going straight to the programming forums, it's so tempting to just hit that top home button and then again down a rabbit hole. So avoid Reddit like the plague. And if you haven't heard of Reddit, don't even look into what it is. Okay, Facebook. Remove the Facebook app from your phone. Remove the Twitter app from your phone. Remove the Google Plus app from your phone if you have to. Now, I'm on Google Plus, so you're saying, Jake, well then how do we connect with you? I honestly do not give a f if you're on Google Plus all the time checking your update status, and you're not working on what you need to work on to get better at what you're trying to do. I want you to remove the Google Plus, and I'm sorry, you won't get my updates. But to be honest with you, I could care less. What I care about is your success. And if removing Google Plus is going to help you succeed, that's what I want you to do. So remove Facebook, remove Twitter, and remove Google Plus, if you have to. Instagram as well. All these photo sharing sites, look, this is really just being strategic. This is just, look, I do some of this stuff myself. I kid you not. I approached my wife and I said, hey, you know what? I'm spending too much time on Facebook. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to change my Facebook password, and then I can only get on Facebook when you come and type in my password. It's worked miracles for me. I only get on Facebook maybe once every 2.5 weeks. And when I do, I quickly just check the notifications. I post the things I want to post, and then I'm off it. I still got that connection between all my family if I need to send a message to all my family members, or if I need to see what they're doing in life. But I'm not sitting there responding to all of these notifications that come up at the top, the little planet or whatever it is. Because that's what happens is you start getting all these notifications. Boom, boom. I don't have Facebook on my phone. But you'll start getting all these notifications, and then you start a conversation. Because Facebook is one of those things where it's like, it gives you whatever you put into it. So watch what happens when you're not on Facebook for a week. Just go cold turkey without being on Facebook for a week, and watch how many notifications you get. Trust me, you'll realize that, wow, people really don't care about me. I mean, I hate to say it, but you really will. The amount of messages, the amount of responses will significantly go down. That by the second week you're not on Facebook for an entire week, you might have 1 or 2 notifications for an entire week. And then you'll realize that you were the one that kept Facebook alive. You were the one that was resuscitating Facebook and making it seem like this cool, lively place. And so, yes, dump it. Another thing that's great for focus is documentation. So having some sort of backlog that's telling you everything that you've done in the past. For me, the YouTube channel is great because I've got a list of all these videos from last week and the week before that. All these videos that I did, okay? And when I see those videos, it's gratification. Games are so addictive because, oh my gosh, I just got another 200 XP. Yes, another 200 XP, level up, 29, yes. And it's feeding into that. It's making you want to just keep going at it. That's what it is. It's why gambling, the coin slots, it's why they make so much money, because people like that ding, 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 you won, even though you only won $30 and you've already spent 35. So did you win? No. So a way to help you stay focused on a certain project is to somehow have a bread trail to the stuff that you've done. Being able to look back on things. Journals are very gratifying because you can see, oh, look at all these pages. Now, if you read the journals, they're actually kind of sad because it's just like, wow, have you guys ever ripped pages out of your older journals? Oh man, I did that so much as a teenager. I would write, and then I would read it like 2 years later, and I'd be like, who is this weirdo? And I'd rip it out, throw it. And now when I look back, I hate myself for doing it. I can't believe I did it. Because I would really just love to see how much of a weirdo I was then and how less or more of a weirdo I am now. But I can't, because I've ripped those pages out, unfortunately. But yes, find a way to keep track of what you are doing, what you are progressing in. So if you're going through like a instruction booklet, for instance, like you're going step by step, like a programming book, for instance, it's really good to just even write at the top of the page every time you finish that page. It's good to use a highlighter because you can see like the important stuff that you've done, so you can quickly highlight the things that you've done on that page. But what's really cool is if once you've been through that whole entire page, if you just go boop with pencil, write a little check mark right at the top. And you'll have, obviously, if it's a book, you'll have 2 sides. And then you just go, boop, you write a check mark. Boop! Because then, when you're going through that book later on, you're going to see all these little check marks, and you're going to go, yes, I totally made it through that page. I'm gangster. That's what you'll do. So, that's one thing that I really recommend, is just highlighting all those topics and the things that you want, putting in like little paper tabs as well, that you get from Office Depot, all these colored tabs. How do they make those? Triangles? Yeah. Just marking stuff up. That's why it's so gratifying. Like, if you read something on an iPad or a Kindle, those are great for portability, and I read a lot of my programming material on my phone, but it'll never be as good as like a book. And again, this is for the people who are going through my programming tutorials. But if you're reading like a book on design, obviously it'll be different because it's not really step by step and like instructional based like this. It's more theory. But whatever class you're in, this works for. I mean, whatever college you're in, you buy your books at the beginning of the year, and you could just do a little light pencil check at the top whenever you finish a chapter. And if you do sell the book back, I mean, how hard is it just to use an eraser? That's why I say use a pencil. So that's a way to kind of keep track and give you that bonus, that feeling of I've accomplished something when you're going through a book. If you're going through a program, like a programming lesson, or if you're on YouTube and you're going through a programming lesson through somebody, what you can do is create a playlist of all of the things that you've finished, all the videos that you've watched. So, like with the Blender tutorials that Andrew Price has, he'll have, if he has a step-by-step tutorials, or maybe he has sporadic tutorials, he has part 1s and part 2s, and then he'll have another like part 1, part 2, part 3 of a different topic. But what you can do to keep track of what you've watched is create playlists and call them finished projects. You can call it finished projects or finished tutorials. Works as well. Finished tutorials. You can't even read that now. And then whenever you finish one of the tutorials of Andrew's or of mine, you just add that to your playlist at the bottom. Underneath the video, there'll be a add to playlist button. Add it to your finished tutorials playlist. Oh, it's so good, trust me. Because when you come back, anytime, like you could do 100 tutorials in like a year, and to be able to look at your finished tutorials window, your playlist, and just be, oh, I'm so awesome. Serious, do it. It's such a good strategy, and people don't do it, and I don't know why. Because they think, oh, like, I gotta add, like, funny videos, or my favorites list. You can put finished tutorials to your favorite list, that's fine. But you can also do, that's great, because you could do finished, if you're learning multiple languages, you could do finished Ruby tutorials. Because get this, like, you might do my whole series, you might do, however many days I end up having, but you also are going to do sporadic Ruby tutorials on specific niche topics, and you want to include those in your finished Ruby tutorials. You want to include those in your finished Photoshop tutorials. Finished Photoshop. Like, serious, keep track. If you want, keep like a point system, and what you can do is just like, however many minutes that tutorial is, like that's how many points that tutorial is worth to you. Like, so if I do 27-minute tutorials, then I've done 140 points. Now, and if your goal at the end of the year or end of the month is, my goal is to get 300 points, so that's 300 total minutes, then great. Then you've reached your goal for learning for that month. And you can obviously pick whichever, but finished Ruby tutorials playlist, finished Photoshop tutorials playlist. And look, if you want to make them private, make them private. If not, if you want to just keep it open for other people to find, that's great, because then people can actually see all of these cool, awesome tutorials you finished. And hey, look, it's a bragging right, too. Obviously don't say you finished it if you didn't, but you can do that, and then people will say, hey, look at all this stuff that person's done. It's great. It's fantastic. Why wouldn't you do it? Look, you can do 150 videos on YouTube about your opinion of the world and all of these things, right? And you may get only 150 views. And that's because you're not giving people anything. You need to start giving people value. If you want to make effect and change in the world, value is the most important thing that you can give to people. Now, what do you call value? You might think that value is, well, they need to know about what's going on in the world, or they need to know about these problems that need to get solved. That is not the value I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on giving people value by giving them tools that they need to become, or that they need necessary tools that they will need in order to become more valuable and successful in their life. And that's all business is. That's all entrepreneurism is. And so that's what I want you to focus on. How can you grow your skills to become more valuable to somebody else? Don't worry about opinions. Don't get in arguments with people. Only worry about increasing your skill. That's it. That's the secret to focusing. You focus on you focus on your beliefs, and you focus on the skills that you are trying to acquire. If your skills require getting better at public speaking so that you can talk to more people, then you buy some public speaking books and you get better at public speaking. But don't sit online and start ranting about things that do not matter to you becoming a more productive and skilled individual. That's it. Have a good night, and I will see you in the next tutorial. My name is Jacob Williams. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and good luck. You all are on your way to becoming more valuable.